Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and recently I talked about how to take the cheapest notebook that you can find and turn it into a burner diary. That is a safe place where you can talk to yourself about your dreams and living a bigger life. Today I'm going to talk about how to take what you've written and turn it into a roadmap that will get you unstuck and closer to that bigger life. Some of the time when we set goals and resolutions about our dreams, we stumble and fall and fail and give up. Well, this technique that I'm going to talk about is going to show you why that does not need to happen. I was asked after last week's video by several commenters who wanted to know if I actually keep a diary like this. And the answer is yes, I do. I write in my diary every day of my life. It helps me to clarify my thoughts, to see what I've been working on and what's working, what isn't, what needs tweaking. And it helps me to see patterns and solutions and direction where I might not have otherwise seen it. So, yes, I do really believe that keeping this in your diary and writing about your dreams will get you closer to them. If you like journal arts, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and be sure and turn on the notifications, and you will have more of them in your life. I did not create this technique. I adapted it from one by the writer Barbara Scher. She wrote a book called Wishcraft, W-I-S-H, Wishcraft, How to Get What You Really Want. She also wrote a book called I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew What It Was. So if either of those titles is speaking to you, I'm going to put a link to Barbara Scher in the text below this video and recommend that you check out her writing because it changed my life. Usually when we make a to-do list, a roadmap, we start at the beginning and work to the end. But we, again, get lost and stumble. So today, the trick is, instead of writing from here to there, you're going to look at your goal from there to here. You are going to make a backwards to-do list. Have you ever been reading a book that was so good that you wanted to skip to the end to see what was going to happen? That's kind of what we're doing right here. Skip to the end. Start with the end. And the end is when you have written down your dream. I want to be a professional skydiving instructor. I want to write a book. I want to live in a farmhouse in France and make prize-winning artisan goat's cheese. Or maybe I want to lose 15 pounds. That's okay too. What you want to do is take your dream or your goal that you've named, and I want you to go back to the burner diary and write about it some more. Make it big. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Add details. Be outrageous. This is your burner diary. It costs $1.50. No one has to read this, not even you. So really flesh out that dream that you have named. And then work backwards. Because for every dream that's come true, there was a step that came before that. And a step that came before that, and one that came before that, and so on back to the beginning. And the beginning could possibly be, that was the day that Kelly made a video that told me to buy a cheap notebook. And then the end is, I make artisan goat's cheese, or what you will. Maybe that final dream is, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, you want to sell your original artwork. My dream is to sell what I make. Anybody? Anybody? That's what I thought. So, in this technique, you want to write about what it felt like the day that you woke up, decided to check your mail, and you saw that you sold your first piece. First piece of something that you made. A junk journal, a painting, some textile art. What did it feel like? It feels good. But what happened before you opened up your email and saw that you had sold your piece? Now, I'm going to keep this a little bit imprecise because this is not a video about how to sell your original artwork. This is a video about how to make a backwards to-do list. But I am going to say that the step that would come before that sale is that you made a listing. You listed your piece. Well, what came before you making that listing? You had to have a platform to put the listing on. Well, what happened before that? You had to find the one that's right for your product. Is it Etsy, Shopify, an online store on your website? Is it an actual brick and mortar gallery? So you had to find that out. Well, what came before that? You had to do a lot of homework, maybe some trial and error. To make this listing, you had to take a gorgeous photograph. What came before that? You had to learn about product photography. And what came before that? You had to find maybe a photography course in a community college near you, or online, or some free lessons on YouTube here about what is the best way to photograph my artwork to sell. Maybe you're going to have to read a lot of blog posts on art sites. You're going to have to do a lot of homework. And if you do this step by step, backwards by backwards, you're going to get to the beginning. Before you took the photography and learned about that, you had to have something to sell. You had to make something to sell. Before that, you had to do some homework about what it is that you do make or can make that would be likely to sell. And then you're going to go back to writing about your dream, which was step number 1. And now you have your roadmap. You can follow it like a heat-seeking missile from I got my notebook out to I opened up my mail and saw that I'd sold my first piece. Now, what I've just described are a lot of moving parts. This is not going to happen in one magic poof. It's not going to take 2 weeks. It may take 18 months. It may take 3 years or 7. But those years are going to come and go whether you work towards this dream or not. So you might as well spend them working towards your dream, your bigger life. In this case, selling what you make. All right, I named hypothetically about 6, 7, 8 steps that you would have to do. Each one of those is big. So it's really, really important that you break each step down into 10 more manageable steps. And each of those 10 steps you can break down into another 15 steps. As small as you need to go with bite-sized pieces that you can do every day. That's it. Let's talk about photographing your art. Again, you're going to have to, let's say you want to go with going to adult learning in your community to take a photography course. Well, what came before you walking into the classroom? That step might be you went online to look at the course catalog to see if it's available. Or maybe you phoned the center to ask them and you had to find the phone number. And so you can break getting this catalog into 11 different steps. And if all you have time for on any given day is that you find the phone number of the local adult learning center, then you have done something on your list. And you can tick it off on paper and up here. And you can know that you are moving forward, even in the tiniest step possible, towards achieving your dream. This sounds a little overwhelming, but it shouldn't, because what it really should sound, what you should be hearing here is that it's doable. It is so truly doable. It's just about showing up every day with faith and with desire to be relentless, persistent, and persevere. Willing to do the smallest bite-sized step possible to keep moving towards that dream. But it may not take as much as you think. Because when you do show up for your dreams with faith and with desire, and when you are relentless and persistent, things happen. You start to find resources and support and connections and solutions where you didn't know where, you don't even know where they came from. I personally think that when you bring desire and persistence to your dream, that you create energy that pulls these solutions and support to you. But if you want a less woo-woo kind of a take on that, it really just makes sense. If you are working on this, talking to your friends about it, putting in the work, showing up, and making this part of your life, it's pretty inevitable that you are going to have more resources, more support, people on your side coming to you with ideas and ways to work on this. And that's true too. If you watch my channel, you know that I'm a big Francophile, and one of my dreams has always been to spend more time in France. And not as a tourist, but as, not that there's anything wrong with being a tourist, I am one, but I also, my dream is to have more of an authentic sense of what life would be like if I lived in France. So for years, I have worked on learning the language. I have read and done homework about the culture. I have learned to make French dishes for my friends. And, lots of things. I listen to French podcasts. I read French fashion magazines online. And I just work on this every day. So one day about 4 years ago, a woman came into my studio here in Wales in the UK, a French woman, and she asked if she could join a workshop. She did, and we became friends. And her English was about as good as my French. And we spent the rest of the summer helping each other out with our language skills and learning about each other's culture. And as we became friends, it turned out that there are several months a year where she is not in her house in France, where she's traveling herself abroad. And she offered it to me. She said that if I wanted, that I could stay for a few weeks or a month at her house in France, rent-free. It's really great. But it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been ready for it, if I hadn't been working with all of these pieces in my life. So that when it was offered to me, either by chance or not, I was ready for that, and things happen. When you work on your dream relentlessly, persistently, with faith and desire, things happen. Finally, there's this. I really hope that you will consider giving yourself the luxury of getting closer to your bigger life and your dreams. Because as you do this, you give everyone else permission to do the same thing. Anyone in your orbit who sees you working towards this persistently, relentlessly, in thousands of baby steps, is going to say, wow, if she can work towards becoming a professional skydiving instructor, I can write my book. And as you have encouraged them by your example, your bravery and boldness, then everyone in their orbit is going to have more encouragement and more permission to live their own bolder, more creative life. And as we, all of us, are leading more and more bold, creative lives, we will make the world a better place. And I believe that. So I hope that you give yourself permission to get that starter burner diary and start writing about your dreams and making a backwards to-do list, breaking the pieces down into as many bite-sized pieces as it takes, and get started. You got this. Please check out the text below this video and find out more about Barbara Scher and what's happening here at Book and Paper Arts. If you have any ideas of your own, any questions or any suggestions about how you work on making goals, solving problems, and getting from here to there and there to here, please feel free to put them in the comments, and we can share ideas and compare notes. Until next time, get up and be bold.